Well, hello there, guys. Welcome back to another episode of War in the East. I want to give a really huge shout out to the viewer last episode who gave me a lot of feedback. Sorry I didn't have the video up here, but I will put your name in the description. Really helped out. I think for this campaign, it's not going to be totally useful, but in future campaigns, we really need to think about it. And specifically, we've been mixing a little too much of our army groups here. We really need to keep blue here, really need to keep green up here, and light blue down here should have been, or actually light blue in the center, to basically keep these guys as close to their specific command chains as possible. It really just makes the men move easier, etc., and supposed to be quite a lot better. So we are going to commence, guys, on the assault of Smolensk. I feel like this turn we really might be able to take it. We're going to commence with a massive attack here by the 131st Infantry Division. Doesn't look like we broke through, but I think a second attack on that tank line will hopefully break it. My goodness, all right, the Soviets are starting to hold. Now, one of the reasons this is tough is we are attacking across a river here, which obviously makes things a lot more difficult. I think here we'll have a better chance, and as you can see, the enemy is running in terror at this point. And I'm almost tempted to go ahead and bring some guys up and attack across the river. It will lead to a lot of losses on our side, but it's going to weaken those tank units near Smolensk. So I'm going for it, guys. I think I wouldn't recommend it at all, but we are dedicating a lot of our men to this attack here just to try and damage that unit a little bit more. And over here, I'll see if we can't maybe knock some guys off the other side of the river. Although I think it's going to be pretty difficult. We'll take the Das Reich Division here. Really try to push these guys off the other side, and we did push them, but again, we've got to consolidate these locations. We can't just stay back. If we take an area like that, we've got to have a unit ready to move in there, and as you can see, it doesn't seem like we really do. Nope, we don't. So that's not really going to be much use to us. Now, what I will do is send 2 of these infantry divisions, the 2 that want to go at least. Oh, wow, so the distance there, we can move back, but the distance to go here is just too far. What am I talking about? 1, there we go. All right, here we go, guys. So I'm going to take, hopefully, both of these groups in time. For now, we'll just attack. We've actually forced a massive retreat, 5,000 running, and we just need to keep pushing, keep on taking this territory. I think that's the most important thing, is just keep the momentum going, especially in areas away from our main target of Smolensk here, to really focus, or force the enemy to focus on these areas, of course. Now, unfortunately, not all of these guys are going to be able to attack this turn, and I don't think they should unless they have a good reason to actually win here. As you can see, managed to rout that tank division, but if we can't send anyone across, I don't know how useful being here is. Oh no, I did not mean to do that. Let's grab our HQ. Luckily, we have enough movement points, but let's grab our HQ and our airfield and move it away. As for this HQ, I think, yeah, he's going to be okay. Now, over by Vitebsk, we have taken so many hits by the enemy. I think it's important for us to try and destroy any enemy offensive in this area, and it seems like it's definitely been weakened. So I'm going to go ahead, keep on pushing here. We're doing major attacks, of course, not just scouting missions, but actual major assaults to push the enemy away. And that could potentially mean getting these troops dangerously close to Vitebsk. But again, to get perfect attacks like this one right here, massive attack there and a massive retreat. 4,000 enemies retreated. We've got to do it. But again, we also have to hold this position near Vitebsk because this has been where the enemy has really enjoyed attacking us nonstop. Let's move these units forward. I'm going to move one of the Panzer divisions over here. I'm not sure if he can attack this turn. Oh, yes, we can. So here we go, guys, an attack north of Smolensk. There they actually held out. 303 men lost on our side, but of course 509 on the enemy side. Still pretty amazing in terms of how we did here. And I'm going to actually grab these infantry units, move them up here. I'm going to try to deliver one more attack. I would love to deliver attacks to this unit, and sure enough, it worked. Beautiful. So really breaking up that offensive near Vitebsk, because the last thing we need right now while we're going on our own offensive is for the enemy to do a much stronger counteroffensive. Then we're essentially focusing on that for the rest of the game, and that's not good for anybody, obviously. I think we should also split up some of these units. Now, this is a great example of what the user was talking about. None of these units should be in the same group if we can help it. I mean, there are situations where we can get away with it, obviously, but this is not one of those situations. Yeah, he's not going to be knocked out by just one group or one corps. We really have to send in quite a few of them. There we go. You see some routing amongst the rifle divisions. And let's actually move up with the tank and one infantry group and see if we can't smash this Soviet group right here. A lot of enemy airborne divisions here, and they did hold key area. We'll know this one as the Battle of the Swamps. That was our SS Polizei division, just not doing so well. Now, hold on a second. We got an issue here. We definitely need to get these HQs much closer. Just hope that they can keep those goods coming in from Vitebsk. That's obviously what we want, and we'll keep trying to knock out the enemy airborne units here north of the city. Definitely looks like their plan here is to drop a bunch of airborne units, try to form some counterattacks, and completely shatter our forces. I don't think it's going to work, though. I think we've got this situation in the north under control. But as mentioned by the person in the comments of the last video, initially I thought we just had to take Vitebsk. We don't. We have to take quite a few other cities, including this one right here. Vitebsk is the main target. So if possible, we do want to keep these offensives going. We want to keep them strong and hopefully eventually form a breakthrough here as well. Yeah, I didn't have to move that HQ up, but I'm not exactly taking that move back either. There we go. More retreats by the enemy. There we go. So now at this point, they're all across the river. It's one frustrating thing about this scenario, and I would take about the Eastern Front in general, is just the fact that it's easy for the enemy to essentially escape really bad situations by just crossing that river. That's all they really need to do, and they are safe. Now, I really think we need to focus mostly on Vitebsk, so I'm going to try and get a concentric attack here. But to do that, I'd have to get on this side of the river, so we're going to try to make a push, if possible. The key word here is try, my friends. No, look at that. Just the distance to move there is too far. That is crazy. And I think it's because of the difficult terrain, of course. That's the real issue here. Good work, men. Now, we are going to be charging across a river here, but we don't have many options. Let's do it. And the defending forces held, as I thought they would. Charging across with armor is especially difficult. Now, over here, we have a chance to do some serious damage. And fort level reduced. We got a massive retreat once again. So a lot of these enemy positions are very, very close to cracking. We really just have to do some additional attacks to totally break them. I'm even confident enough to attack that tank division. 1,073 men lost. I should have looked at the tanks lost. But anytime we look at the casualty report at the end of our episodes, you can see the vehicles, enemy vehicles and our vehicles destroyed during that particular turn, which I think is just... Now, over here near Gomel, we tried to get the enemy to cross the river. They have crossed. We've got them trapped here. We have got to push them back. Let's see if we can do it. And sure enough, we forced them back across 3,283 men. I'm going to station that unit there, although we could use even more units, of course, just to defend this area. In the south, I'm not going for any sort of offensive. I really am just trying to survive and to pretty much cause some confusion amongst the enemy lines to force them pretty much to send troops away from Vitebsk. So it's not the greatest strategy over there. I think another thing we can do is start moving all of our air forces a lot closer, get these airfields across the river. There's no need for our planes to fly a few, even if it's just 10 or 20 kilometers extra, it's just not worth it. We might as well bring everybody across and prepare for attacks. Come on, boys. Since Mogilev was such an important capture for us, let's maybe just keep one airfield at Mogilev. You can also sort of defend the other air units, the Fliegerkorps over here. I'm just looking up and down to see if there's actually get some decent attacks. I think it's going to be really tough to hold that position, guys. I will send another group. But again, holding these areas across the river, it ain't easy. Not even a little bit. What about an attack here? This would only work if we could get this group to attack with us. So I think for now, we need to essentially hold off. See what the Soviets do, of course, and react in kind. Doing one desperate attack there. It's more of a scouting mission. Yeah, that wasn't going to amount to much. Nonetheless, we'll end the turn, guys. At least we got some massive retreats on the Soviet side. Whether or not that's actually going to help us secure victory, I'm not sure. Wait a minute. a few more attacks, I believe. Let me move up a little bit more. Again, as long as they're on this side of the river, that gives us an opportunity to smash them. Now, at this point, we just scouted them. Let's see if these guys are brave enough for an attack. It's really not a question of bravery. It's more a question of stamina. That being said, no, they're definitely not. We still put a little bit of a hurting on the enemy, and I think here is where we will end the turn, guys, and see exactly what the Soviets intend to do. It's been a crazy bunch of turns. I've loved it so far, an absolute bloodbath. Interestingly enough, we have taken more casualties than the Germans did in the actual battle, but the Soviets have also taken more casualties than the Soviets did during the actual battle. So we're both taking... Now, I will skip through all the, pretty much the air attacks here, and get straight to the actual fighting. I'm curious to see what... the Soviets are going to do here to counter us. I think they're going to keep on pushing towards Vitebsk. If they try to come up from the south, it's just going to take way too long. All right, pushed us back across the river. Yeah, it's the river anymore. It's that simple. It's unfortunate, but we just can't go across the river anymore. We need to... Unless we can take a whole group across that place, we just elsewhere, or push in specific areas. Here are defending forces. That area north of Vitebsk is still strong. What about the area east of Vitebsk? They did force holding that city. I think a terrible thing to happen during this Vitebsk that would really push us back quite a lot. All right, our men held once again, man, here in Smolensk. So on the Smolensk line, we are holding. The problem is, over here, for instance, the enemy is also holding every time we do an attack. So it's sort of like a match every single time we engage here. And once again, forcing us across the river, yeah, teaching us that their side of the river belongs, or that side of the river belongs to them. And I absolutely agree. I'm not here to deny that. At this point, any of those positions across... All right, let's take a look at these casualties. Okay, guys, so we'll actually look at the current turn. 8,371 casualties. The enemy had 34. It's a lot more even than the other turns. Of course, if we're looking at total Soviet losses, it's almost close to 500,000. We're up to almost 70,000 Axis losses with 25,000 men killed. The enemy, 91,000 men killed. And, of course, the wonderful 231,000 men captured. Only about 2,000 of the Soviets have actually returned to the battle. So that means that our wounds, the wounds that we've actually managed to deal out or dish out to them, have been pretty grievous wounds. So I must say I am pretty proud of that. That being said, guys, we're going to have to wait till next turn, which will be turn 8, to see the next part of the series. I want to thank everybody so much for supporting. Make sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and keep giving me that awesome advice. Again, I think it's going to take a while. This is not an easy game. This is a complex, in-depth game. And among the Gary Grigsby games, this is probably considered the simplest one, which is why you never see me playing War in the West or Rule the Waves or anything like that. For me, it's just way too much. But I do appreciate the feedback. I am listening. Clearly, in the situation, we've got everything mixed and mashed. It's going to be a little tougher to really get things the way we want them right now. That being said, it is looking like our units are getting quite strong over here right on the edge of the river. I'm not sure if that's because of our HQs being a little bit closer or a little better organized, and they're still pretty poorly organized. But we want to keep that going, and we want to push and take that damn city. These Soviets do not want to give Smolensk up. Stalin's given them orders to shoot anybody retreating, but that doesn't matter. We're going to keep on pushing.